Have you ever seen one of those scenes in movies where the main character's carrying all their books and then they trip and their books just go everywhere all over the floor and everybody in the hallway around them just keeps on walking? You might think this seems kind of unrealistic because surely if this were real life, somebody would help them. But this isn't always the case in real life, and it's something known as the bystander effect. The bystander effect is a psychological phenomenon where the more people who are around someone who needs help, the less likely they are to get help. A paper from the National Library of Medicine describes it as the feeling of having less responsibility when more bystanders are present, which is diffusion of responsibility, the fear of unfavorable public judgment when helping, evaluation apprehension, and the belief that because no one else is helping, the situation is not actually an emergency, pluralistic ignorance. It basically boils down to people not helping others who need it, whether through conscious decision or not. The bystander effect isn't just seen in small little mishaps like falling down either. The bystander effect has a much bigger impact on the world today than many people realize, as it can be observed playing a key role in both many major and minor problems in the world, such as climate change or cyberbullying problems online. You may have heard of the bystander effect or something like it at some sort of anti-bullying presentation or video of some sort in your school. This is because the bystander effect plays a massive role in scenarios where someone is being bullied. It seems surprisingly easy for people to just stand by and turn a blind eye to something that is happening pretty much right in front of them. This inattentiveness is only heightened when brought onto the internet, as now you aren't seeing actual people in front of you, you're seeing pixels on a screen. It becomes much easier to dehumanize someone when they're behind a screen, and that's why cyberbullying has become such a big concern in the past 20 years or so. But this video isn't about bullying. This video is about the bystander effect, and as I mentioned earlier, it actually plays a key role in a much bigger problem we face today: climate change. Mark Lynas, a British author, journalist, and climate change advocate, says that nearly everyone professes to care about global warming while simultaneously continuing with set patterns of behavior that make the problem worse. This is a wonderful example of pluralistic ignorance from the previous quote, the belief that as long as no one is doing anything, it's not really a problem. It could also be an example of diffusion of responsibility, since technically there are 8 billion bystanders watching climate change happen. This might sound like a stretch, but think of all the organizations trying to help prevent climate change. While they are making an impact, it isn't enough to truly make a big difference. That would require the majority of people to actually make a significant change in their lives, which simply isn't happening because so many people assume those organizations are doing enough to help. Now that you understand a little bit more about the bystander effect and how broadly it applies to us, I want to ask you something. I took a poll from some of you in this class and a few others, and it showed that roughly 80% of people that I asked about the bystander effect knew what it was and remembered experiencing or witnessing it at some point in their lives. So, the question is, why is it so easy for us to be a bystander if we know that the effect is happening? Part of the answer to this question might be found in a study by psychologist Mark Levine, who commented that the effects from the bystander effect are amplified when you share group-level psychological relationships with the people around you. This is basically just a fancy way of saying that when you are surrounded by people you know, you are more likely to be a bystander. This makes sense because, as found before, one of the main causes of the bystander effect is not wanting to appear different from others, and stepping out from a familiar crowd and doing something different might mean stepping out of your comfort zone a little bit. It's not all completely negatives, though. The same study from Mark Levine showed that while people were even less likely to help when they were in a group they knew, they were also more likely to help once someone actually stepped in. This means that the bystander effect could go both ways, meaning if just one person decided to help despite their discomfort, other people would follow them. So what am I getting at here? Obviously, you can't reverse climate change all by yourself, so I'm not asking you to be some big superhero who just reverses climate change overnight, or some keyboard warrior trying to defend the thousands of cyberbullying victims all over the world. But you could do other little things. There are so many smaller examples of the bystander effect around us every day. So maybe next time someone is being peer pressured or somebody seems left out of your friend group, you could do something small that might seem big to them. Lend the one being peer pressured a comforting voice that isn't trying to get them to do something they don't want to, or try and bring the left out friend into the conversation. It's these little things that make a difference in somebody's day. And as for the larger problems, although you can't reverse climate change overnight, maybe you could watch your recycling habits a little bit more and try and pick up litter you see occasionally. In your day-to-day life, you are rarely going to have an opportunity to make a massive change all at once. So watch out for the little things, because in the long run, it's the little things that make a big difference.